Today we are going to replace this frame horn section thing because mine is obviously not in the best shape. I did get a different one from a much drier climate that I'm going to be putting in place. So let's get started. We'll figure out how to do it. A couple of fun things to note that I discovered while kind of digging into this is there are welds all around here. And one would think that you could just cut these welds and slide this whole thing right out and slide a new one in. But that's not the case. If we pick up this one right here and we look inside, we can see it's actually welded on the inside as well. So there's no way to just slide the old one out and slide the new one in because this is boxed in all the way around, and you would need to cut the welds that are like right here and right here on the inside. So that is just not a possible thing unless, of course, you were to just cut the frame off like right here, then weld that back on, then slide the new piece in, which we may do. I actually haven't figured that out yet. So I'm gonna start exploring this and try and figure out what the best way is to replace this, and then we'll start cutting. So the first thing that I've decided I need to do is get this old section of the frame off of this front piece. So I'm going to cut these welds and I'm going to separate this stuff from this stuff, and hopefully that will at least get me started in the right direction, and then it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to actually attach it on this end. Do I cut this section all open, kind of open it up, weld it together on the inside, and then put it back in place and weld all that up? Or, I don't know, maybe just leave this whole top section here and I could cut right here and I could just weld the whole new bottom in place. I don't really know. I'm still trying to figure that out, but the first things first, we got to take this off. So I've now taken off the extra metal that was hanging out here. I haven't ground down the old welds yet, and I have just lined up the holes for the steering parts, and I've kind of have the bolts holding it in place. So now I need to remove this section. And I think my plan is that I'm gonna cut these welds here on the outside and basically hack this whole thing off. And then I'm gonna surgically remove all of the metal from the inside of this and try to slide this in. And if that works, cool. And if not, then I'll end up cutting back this section a bit and trying to make that work. So hopefully I won't get to that point, but we'll find out. I just gotta cut more, and we'll just kind of see how it works out. I'm gonna bring it in here. I just took these little pieces out from inside of it, which were the ends of that. So yeah, just to get a better look at this, you can see it is very rotted. This is right where the battery leaks onto. So it's like right under the battery tray. So a lot of these right front frame horns on X-frame Impalas from 61 to 64 are rotted out, and I think it's due to the battery. I don't know exactly, but that's my theory. Anyways, you can see the inside of the frame now. There is some rust in here, but the metal is still plenty thick. So what I'll probably do is clean up this metal as best I can, throw some rust converter in there, make sure I get out whatever's left of the old welds, and then we'll try and slide the new piece in and see how it fits. Probably not gonna, but you know what? We're just winging this. So I guess we're now gonna try and stuff that into that frame and see what the heck happens. All right, back to time lapse. That worked about 1,000 times better than expected. The thing just slid right in and it hit the spot where the old welds were, because I think I just didn't grind them down enough. So I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take those old rusty bolts out of that, shove them in this, and see if my measurements are still in the same place, because I measured a lot of things off of those bolts, and I also have some measurements here that I have to measure. So now I'm gonna start kind of seeing if all this stuff lines up right, and if so, then we'll kind of clamp it in place, put a spot weld here and there, and then we'll just kind of send it home with the old MIG welder. Or maybe TIG, I don't know. We're just figuring it out. You know, we don't know what we're doing here. We're just winging this. I know this seems like far-fetched, but this thing is pretty much in the perfect position right now. So I'm now going to take it back out again, and I'm going to clean up the metal all around here, because I obviously need to weld it in place, and I want clean metal to start with. And then I'll obviously clean up this metal itself as well, because you want a good weld. So yeah, things are looking good. This is actually much easier than I had anticipated. So that's good news. All right, so let me pull this out. We'll clean up the metal, and then we'll put a couple spot welds in place, and then of course double check all the measurements, triple check all the measurements, and then we'll fully weld it all the way around, flip the frame over, we'll weld the bottom, and then we'll go to the inside, we'll weld the inside just like it was from the factory. And then we are in business. All right, so let's do it. So we've now got it tacked in place with just a couple of welds, and it seems to be in the right spot. So I'm just gonna go through and triple, quadruple, septuple, check all of these measurements, and then I'm gonna get wild with the welder, and we're gonna weld it all the way around. So let's finish this up. Great news. It is all welded all the way around. And now I have to flip the frame over and weld the bottom. And of course the insides where it was originally welded. And that way it'll be just as strong as it originally was. And it'll even be in the right spot, which is the best part. So I guess we'll flip the frame over and weld the insides. So now with the frame flipped, we can see that I have to weld the bottom. And then if we cruise around here to the inside, I'm gonna get inside there with the MIG welder and weld it as much as I can. I should be able to get at least 3 sides of it, maybe 4. I think it was only welded on 3, to be honest, so it won't be a big deal if I only do 3 this time. So anyways, let's weld that up, and then we'll be pretty much done with this frame horn. Well, at least attaching it. All right, all welded. And it's welded on the inside as well. It's really tough to see in there. You'll just probably have to trust me, but it's welded. So we got the new frame horn on. Oh, you can see the weld where it came through here. Hey, cool. So the frame horn is on. I keep calling it a frame horn. I don't know if that's actually what it's called. So I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. So now I think I'm gonna fix these, but I'm probably not gonna do that on camera because it's like a 2-second thing that's gonna probably be boring. So if you like this video, definitely go ahead and give it a like, maybe subscribe if you wanna see more of this build. And I hope I'll see you on the next one. All right, I fixed it.